I don't think it matters that much because as of now, the original wallet of Satoshi Nakamoto holds 5% of the
Mm.
supply. So 5% is, I mean, it's a lot of money,
Yeah,
right? But in relative terms, it's just 5%.
yeah.
And that money, by the way, has never been touched or moved.
Oh wow.
So we don't even know if they still have access to it or what
I wonder
happened.
if anybody's try to like go to the blockchain itself, like try to figure out like go way back in the past, like try to like do like I don't know IP tracking or VPN or whatever the case may be, like try to track like the original thing came from, you know?
I think they've tried.
Yeah.
They've tried everything they could, and they've even tried when originally Satoshi Nakamoto used to post on uh, the forums,
Hmm.
but nobody, as far as I know, nobody has been able to trace it back, or at least it has been completely undisclosed.
Yeah. I'm sure he has good reason not wanting to be like a public figure too, you know?
Sure, and it's probably better if it stays that way.
Yeah, definitely. So next, you do a lot of mentoring at the Comost and the University of Washington. Can you talk about your what you do there?
Um, yeah, so there's commotion at the University of Washington, which is a great incubator um, with great people involved, both senior professionals as well as students, entrepreneurs, teachers, etc. So, I mean, the short answer is anything that I can do for the University of Washington to help, I will. And anytime that Commotion or any other entity at the University of Washington want me to go and um, provide my opinion or advice to anyone that it can help, I'll probably do it.
So how did this relationship start? Right? Did they reach out to you, or you reach out to them? How did this whole relationship start between y'all?
So I got involved with Commotion very back in the day, and quite frankly, I don't even remember how. Um, but they were starting the Commotion Labs, um, at least a cohort of advisors, and I was part of one of the first cohorts of advisors.
Like I know about Comost Labs. I had no idea that they're number seven as far as startups launched. I had no idea they were like pushing out that many startups.
Yeah, so at least a few years ago, it used to be the seventh biggest entity into the US by number of startups that they would release each year. So it's pretty big, and it makes sense because it's one of the best universities in the country and in the world. And a lot of ventures come through not only the students that are there that have ideas and they want to convert them into startups and ventures, but also through a lot of the researchers and professors that are working on projects there that would like to commercialize.
Yeah, I don't think most people realize how good the University of Washington is. Like, it's basically Ivy League school. It's known for like, having one of the best computer science departments, one of the best human centered design, one of the best business schools. I mean, it's like top notch across the line. And being in Seattle, Microsoft, Amazon, Boeing, all these tech companies, is really like almost like a talent pool for everyone, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it also is one of the top 20 most beautiful campuses in
Yes,
the
and it's nice.
US.
Like, especially when the cherry blossoms come out. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, but yeah, the quality of pretty much all of the faculty, the staff, the students, and the programs is very nice. I only have good things to say.
Yeah, I know they have a very robust like international student program too. I know a lot of international students apply to go there too.
A lot of international students. Yeah, I forgot the numbers, but
It's pretty
I
high.
think it's roughly a third.
Yeah. So why do you think like when most people think of like high class or top notch colleges, like they don't think of UW, right? They think of like maybe UCLA, Harvard, University of Texas, but you rarely hear University of Washington, right? Why do you think that is?
I think they're starting to think about
Yeah,
University of Washington.
yeah, I do
As you
too.
said, for computer science,
Yeah,
for example, it would certainly pop in their radars.
that the business school, like human centered design. There's so many things. Like yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing about at the University of Washington, they have like it's almost like the startup hall. There's another one just for hardware startups. Like they have like different. What kind of startup you have, there's almost a hall for you, right?
There's a lot of very good programs for entrepreneurs, also for sales. So I would say they're fostering that entrepreneurship into the students as much as they can. both at the undergraduate level as well as the graduate level. Um, with all of that said, the University of Washington is putting their best foot forward, but in order to have a thriving startup environment, there's more things that you need to it, right? Amongst them, like good VCs and angel investors, and it needs a full ecosystem.
Yeah. I think that's one criticism, at least for me, a lot of other founders, like, is the lack of VC money here, right?
Yes.
Versus, of course, you can never be the Bay Area. You're not going to catch up with them, right? But, like, I don't know. So this one person told me this one time, I was in the Bay Area to visit some friends. I just happened across a VC. I asked him, hey, can you explain why there's so, like, the environment in the Bay Area is so different from, like, Seattle? He said, like, and his thing was, like, in the Bay Area, all the VC people were former founders, right? Where here, all the VCs are like Amazon, Microsoft, whatever. And that's the difference. And he said in the Bay Area, like suppose like you saw you come to $100 million, they always reinvest some money in the community. Where here it's like he seems like a startup makes it, they take the money and run, right?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid assessment, right? Like if you have been a founder in the past and you have put everything on the line and made it, then you have a lot of sympathy for all of the other founders that are going through the same as you went, right? Like all of the ups and downs, breakdowns and breakthroughs, right? As opposed to as if you have lived a corporate life and you made it early into those companies, right?
Doesn't mean you're smart, right? It just means you're there early.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of smart people too, right? But the risk profile is completely different, right? And it's not the same when you put all of your savings in the line to be a founder than when you have a very good and nice steady salary for the last 20 years, right? So the personalities themselves have very different risk profiles.
Do you think Seattle will ever like change its mentality, or think this is the way it's gonna be here forever?
Change the what, sorry?
The mentality of the VC investment.
I hope it does. As more founders start to make it, hopefully they replicate the culture that you were saying before, where they reinvest at least part of it into similar founders, right? And I think there's a certain level of awareness and changes that are trying to take place to enhance the ecosystem as much as we can.
Yeah, it's always frustrating, right? Especially some of these companies here like deserve funding, right? And they get told no here, and they go somewhere else and get funding like kind of fast, right?
Very fast, yeah. That's very frustrating.
Yeah, and I suppose you always hear like investors here all the time say no, we only invest in companies that deserve funding.
Right.
Well, like I know like 10 companies like went somewhere else like within 6 months got funding, right?
Right, and I think the difference is somewhere else, like in the valley. Again, the risk profiles, right? They understand what they're getting into, and they don't shy away from writing that first check.
Yeah.
That very first check. Whereas here, a lot of the different parties, they never like to be first.
Yeah. So I said in the podcast before, I have a good friend of mine, and so this I have like 6-7 years ago. She was with a startup. It was like a sales platform, right? She's gonna get a meeting here, right? She ran out of money, so she got a job doing sales in New York City, right? 6 months later, she pitched and she got like a $500,000 seed or pre-seed run, right? And she said within 3 days after that was public, all the VCs in Seattle told her no, like, hey, come talk to me, right?
Yeah, well, that's because most of the hard work is already done, right?
Yeah, like no one wants to be the lead, right?
Right.
And that's probably the hardest thing as a founder to find that lead investment, right?
Yes, which is why they tend to say, particularly at the very beginning, people tend to say, oh, I did it with friends and family money.
Yeah.
Which has always been very painful for me to
Yeah.
hear, because, well, what if you don't have?
Yeah, like I am the friends and family.
Yeah, the friends and family, or you don't want to
Yeah.
request something from your friends and your family,
Yeah.
right? There should be an ecosystem there that supports you and gives you the chance.
Yeah, definitely. So the company you're with now, Cellnet, you have a co-founder whose name is Andre Core, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the process of you and him like becoming co-founders, right?
Yeah. So Andre is like the godfather of telecom in my eyes. And one day we were drinking margaritas together. Was pretty stressed because I was part of managing a hedge fund back then. Um, and he was telling me about how telecom deals are typically multi-year contracts, and I guess that planted a seed. So when I was no longer uh, being part of managing the hedge fund, one day we reestablished conversations, and at the time he was having more than he could handle. So I said, well, how would it look like if we put some sort of a structure around it that supports you in what you're currently doing, right? So that was the initial conception of the idea, was to scale something similar to what he was doing in telecom. And then we thought, well, the real way of scaling this would be to infuse AI also in every single aspect of the business that we can. And that's how the business came about, which was taking technology services distribution, or as we like to call it, technology solutions distributions, to on a scalable level.
And how many years have y'all been working together?
About 2 years.
2 years. They say like you get a co-founder, it's like you're gonna spend more time with your co-founder than your significant other, right? So how is it that your quote unquote marriage has lasted so long? Where all the co-founders they work 3 4 months, they split up.
Well, I think it's important to work with people that are aligned with you in values, ethics, the way that you see the business, and to a certain extent, the way that you also see the world. Um, there's always going to be different points of views, and it's important to try to reconcile them. There's always going to be different ideas, and it's always important to take them all into account, right? Um, and one thing that we said from the very early days, Andre and I, to each other, was like, we only like to work with good people, and we're only going to work with good people. So we even had to fire one client or two because they did not align with uh, the values as people that we have. And me personally, and I think you can read that in some of my company's websites, and I think it's still on my LinkedIn profile. I believe that life is all about people. Consequently, business is all about people, and one has to put people first.
So how do you and Andre balance each other out? Like what skills do you have that he doesn't have, and vice versa?
He's way more optimistic than I am.